Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are excited that you guys have taken a little bit of time out of your day today to learn more about IIBA's certification in product ownership analysis. Um, I am I, I'm really pleased. I think this is the first time that we've actually done a preparation webinar for this particular certification, and I'm happy to see that there's a lot of interest in it. My name is Susan Moore. I'm the Community Engagement Manager here at IIBA, and I want to welcome Ellen Mishra, who is a training partner with Adaptive, who has come to do this. Let me give you a couple of quick housekeeping items, and then I will turn it over to Ellen. First, you guys are doing a great job of chatting, and we love when you do that, so feel free to pop where you are located and connect with each other over in chat. We've got the Q&A box turned on today. Yep, there it is. And if you've got questions, please put them in there, and we will try to leave a little bit of time for your questions today. Also, we've got reactions turned on, and Ellen can see those. So if you hear something that you like, let them know. That's always kind of motivating as a speaker. All right. Um, we are recording today's session. You will get a link to the recording and the slide deck 24 hours after today's session. And then next week, we will get you something we call the webinar extra. It's just some additional materials that you might find helpful if you want to learn more about this certification or IIBA if you're not currently a member. All right. So I want to introduce Ellen Mishra. He is the owner, founder, CEO, top guy, top banana of Adaptive. And this is a really important factoid. He's got every single IIBA certification, all 7. So he is not only speaking as a training partner, but he's also taken this certification. So he's got a lot to share with you guys today. All right, Ellen, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for joining us today. My students, which is very nice, and often happens with now probably business analysts around the world, and some of them would definitely turn up in an event. So what I'm going to do is to tell you what are the benefits of going for CPOA certification in a nutshell, and how would you prepare for this certification? What are the pluses that you see with this particular certification? So again, I would always encourage and I will always tell people that analysts or professionals who learn, they grow. People who stop learning, they stop growing as well. And I always take these certifications as a learning path or a process for myself. And that's why I strive to achieve at least one certification a year. That is my personal goal. As this, I did a course from PMI on generative AI. If IIBA comes up with another certification, I will definitely go for it. And that's the process how I completed all 7 IIBA certifications. And I think Susan gave you a nice intro. I've been teaching this subject for a very long time. I'm a practicing business analyst as well. I have consulted more than 50 clients in the area of business analysis, process analysis, process improvement, information security, quite a lot of areas. And then I have been part of IIBA exams team as well, and been writing extensively on business analysis as well. And when I look at my product experience, many of my products are successful and many are failures as well. It's not that all my products have been very successful. And I think the product that failed miserably with me, where I invested about $1 million of my own personal savings, that was a very hard learning. So sometimes I share my learnings with my learners, and I always tell that it's good that you learn from your experience. And fortunately, over last 5 years or so, I have at least introduced 10 or 12 successful products. So that way I feel very good about myself that my one bad experience has resulted in so many good experiences as well. This is a quick pop-up poll for you. If you guys know what percentage of salary increase professionals usually get when they get IIBA certified. Is it 10%? Is it 15%? Is it roughly 20%? Or is it roughly 25%? If you just put it in your chart, we can take it. Okay, C, D. Okay. If you put the numbers, it's easier for me. A, B. Okay, 25, 20, 20, 15. Okay, good. Depending on the firm and how they see the B, I'm looking at an average number. Okay. So many of you have actually given the right answer, which is 20%. So professionals tend to get about 20% salary hike when they get certified. The reason is very simple. No? When you go to a marketplace or a shop and you're trying to buy a product, you would always prefer a branded product. No, because a branded product comes with certain assurance that the quality is good, the support is good, and that's how we pick up branded products. Same way, when you look at yourself as a product, I look myself as a product. I am in the consulting market, I am in the training market. So obviously, when a client wishes to work with me or decides to pick me up, they would look at something that they can trust. And this is where the certifications do come into play. And fortunately, I'm very glad that IIBA has really maintained a very stringent policy on its certifications. So it is almost, I haven't heard anybody who said I could get IIBA certification without studying or without understanding the subject. I haven't come across even one business analyst. And the practices have been very ethical, very rigorous, which actually gives value to the certificate quite a lot. So obviously, my talk today is primarily centered around CPOA because that's the program all about. And obviously, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what is the benefit of getting CPOA certified, some key information about the certification, which many of you may know, but it's always good to repeat those information. And how do you go ahead and prepare yourself for this certification? Some useful resources that you could use as part of your preparation process, and we'll be happy to take any questions that you may have on this particular certification. Quick note about IIBA. I think one of the best things that has happened to the world of business analysis is IIBA. So I am a BA pre-IIBA dates. So we had very little information help in conducting our activities. And sometimes we were so ill-trained and so less knowledgeable that we caused misery to the clients. So I remember in one of my projects, I made a mistake in not eliciting the requirements properly, and that resulted in a $6 million loss. And that too, I'm talking of a time frame of year 2000, 2002. By today's terms, I think it'll be about $15 million the client lost because of my lack of knowledge. But today, I'm very glad we have such good system, books, guidebooks, study guides, everything available to us to perform our work much, much better way. That way, I trust all of you are IIBA members. If not, do become an IIBA member. There is tremendous benefit in terms of resources, knowledge base that you can access. And on top of it, you also get a discount on your exam fees as well. So that's a double bonanza that you get by becoming an IIBA member. There's tons of events, webinars, physical events happening. Like there was a BBC in April in Phoenix. It was very well attended. And there's something coming up in Australia as well recently. There is something happening in, I think my other colleague, Victoria Kupetsi, is organizing something as Balkan Business Conference. There's a whole lot of conferences happening globally by IIBA or partner organizations. A little bit about us. We are one of the leading IIBA certifications providers in the world, and we specifically focus on business analysis, nothing else. So that way, our focus is very, very clear, and that's what helps us as well. We are also a Thinkific development partner. We have a product already launched on Thinkific platform, and we are planning to launch a couple of more products in the future on Thinkific as well. Thinkific is essentially a learning management system. So this is something that I picked up from IIBA publications as well. And you can see here what kind of benefits people have received by going through an IIBA certification, like a greater fulfillment at work, a much higher confidence at work, which I believe is again an important parameter. Many people see salary increase, and then promotion. So many things happen because you get certified. Again, I have picked up another slide. You can see here BAs who hold at least one certification on 13% higher. So that's a good number, and obviously take advantage of a greater salary by investing into your skills. And I will also tell you, when markets become bad, tough, certifications can help. And I've seen that happening to our past students as well. Like when COVID happened, one of our past learners lost her job because he was in an airlines industry company, and airlines were very badly affected because of COVID. But because she had done CBAP, she got selected in a bank pretty quickly. So imagine you can switch your domains if you are certified in some of the IIBA certifications. Again, the one of the reasons why I feel for many business analysts, product owner is a very natural progression. Fundamentally, I treat product ownership as a combination of project management skills and business analysis skills. And many organizations are preferring product owners because in one person, they get two roles fulfilled. So, one way it is kind of a cost saving for the company, very natural, because they don't have to hire a project manager and a business analyst. Second, the accountability is much better. No, now somebody cannot dispute the BA said like this or the PM said like that. Those kind of disputes go away. You are single point accountable for the product development. Hmm. One other thing I also would like to kind of clarify, and which I've seen, maybe I'm right or wrong, but we IT professionals especially have a very strong desire to drop middle words. So a lot of times people are very confused whether a product owner is a higher role compared to a product manager, or a business analyst. So I actually read product owner role as product development owner. That means a person who is owning up the product development process. And obviously, the product manager is slightly different. Product manager is a bit more outward focused, market, competition, pricing, those kind of things. The product owner may look at into it. No, I'm not saying the product owner doesn't look into it, but the product owner is primarily responsible for managing the product development. And obviously, once you are a successful product owner, you could also migrate to the role of a product manager. So that's like business analyst to product owner to product manager. And of course, once you become a product manager, the next level of things could be your CIO, CXO, CTO level opportunities will open up for you. Again, it's a great number that you can see here. Okay, so obviously, this is one of the good certifications that we have, which is recognizing your skills as a product owner. So who all should look for it? Obviously, business analysts are very right candidates. Anybody who is supporting product owners, you want to execute product ownership related work. One more category of people I haven't put here is current CCBAs or CBAPs. So if you're already holding a CBAP certification or a CCBA certification, you can use this certification learning process as a continuing development activity. So one way you learn something new, and you also are able to retain your CBAP or CCBA certification. Few other things, it's not very expensive. It's reasonably low cost training option, and the certification option, the cost is only $250 if you're already a member. The questions aren't very complex. That way, it's a good news for all of us. Those of you who would have taken CBAP and all, you would have seen the questions can be very, very long and very difficult as well. Whereas this certification doesn't ask you very difficult questions. So with a reasonable amount of preparation, maybe 40 to 60 hours of preparation, you should be able to complete this certification as well. And the certificate is valid forever. That's a good news. You never lose the certificate. And you have a complete online option available. That means you don't have to go to a test center or go to a training center to do the training. You can do the training online. You also can take the test online. Again, very quick things, like all other non-core certifications and core certifications. IIBA doesn't put a lot of emphasis on your formal education. I actually have seen BAs who are not even high school graduate. Sometimes I used to think, how can a person who is not even a high school graduate be a senior business analyst? But then I realized there are professionals who have joined a job, they are good, but they could not continue their studies due to some family hardships or something like that. But they have learned their domain very well. Like they have worked in that domain for 15 years or so. And in that process, they are able to switch to a BA role quite nicely. I've seen actually people like that. Then there's no work experience also required, so that way you don't have to worry. And even if you are a new BA, you still can pursue this course. There is no mandatory PD hours, but although we suggest a training because that automatically helps to hasten up the process. Without the training, maybe you will take 6 months more. No, but you can do it yourself. It's not that you have to take a training to become CPOA certified. There are no references required, and obviously, like any other exam, you have to take the accept the terms and conditions of the exam. I may not be able to answer your chats as I'm speaking right now, but as I kind of complete the discussion, I would be able to pick up chats from you. Okay, then obviously, like any other certification, IIBA has published a guide. So this is the guide, and typically all international exams kind of strictly follow the guidebook. So you can do that. Exam type is quite simple. It's like knowledge-based questions, kind of directly from the book. Fee is $250. The exam duration is 1.5 hours and 60 multiple choice questions. So you have ample time to answer the questions, and preparation effort, as I said, anywhere between 60 to 80 hours is more than enough. And you can take it through live web-based proctored exam model. So there are 7 domains in this certification, and you can see here something like foundational concepts, developing customer intimacy, engaging your whole product development team, making an impact for your customers, deliver often, that comes from the agile principles, learn first, that's again something comes from agile principles, and obsess about value. So if you look at this particular certification and content, it's very much aligned to the agile way of thinking as well. And today I see a lot of organizations are actually moving into agile way of development, which has become very popular. Secondly, I'm kind of seeing that coming our way as well. A great um, rush, not necessarily rush, but a great zeal to get into product development. Why? Because development is becoming easier and easier. You can actually do prototypes very quickly using AI-based tools. So that allows you to experiment with your customers quite quickly without investing a lot of money. Now, earlier, developing a product was always a very rigorous process. Just to give you an idea, one of the companies where I worked, and we were trying to develop an ERP solution in those days. I'm talking of 96, 97. And we had 500 or odd developers working for almost 5 years. That's the time the company invested in building the ERP solution. How many companies will actually be able to invest that kind of money and time? But today you don't have to. You can actually build small products, go take them to the market much more comfortably because of AI coming our way. So keep in mind, products, if successful, are extremely beneficial for the company. You make it once and you sell it as many times as you like. That's how Microsoft is so successful. You know, because they created products which people have been using for I don't know how many years now, 30, 40 years people have been using their products. Like we still use Microsoft Office and other products as well. So I generally recommend a 6-step process to complete any of the certifications from IIBA. For that matter, you can actually apply it to other certifications as well. Actually, the most important point is to make up your mind. This is where actually many professionals fall short. If you look at me, how did I complete 7 certifications in about 3, 4 years time frame? Because I had made up my mind that I am going to complete all 7 certifications. I had a selfish interest as well because I need to teach these subjects. And obviously, being certified kind of gives me that credibility that I can teach this course as well. So I made up my mind and I completed. Similarly, those of you who are truly interested to profile yourself, build your brand value, make yourself much more visible in the community, getting certified is one of the best ways that you can invest. And I will talk about each of these points one by one. Again, first point, make up your mind. And this is the hardest part. The moment you decide to do something, you will be able to do it. So always remember, not doing a certification for a significant amount of time. I'm not talking of 2 months, 3 months. But if you don't do anything over the years, you are actually losing probably $20,000 every year. That's the kind of money that is going away from your opportunity. With a better certification goal, you can actually do it. And I'm not talking from 1 to 5 business analyst experience. I have interacted with thousands, and so many of them are certified now. And I've seen many of them getting 30, 40, 50% hike in salary. Sometimes some are able to get 100% hike in salary as well. And these are documented cases. You can go and watch these videos, testimonials on LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever you want to watch them. And sometimes you would also get stuck because you are not trying to improve yourself. Okay. Then coming to the second point, should you get trained? Again, as I said, CPOA does not mandate a training. So you can actually do a self-study and pass the exam as well. But having a good training and a mentor can hasten it up at least by 3 to 6 months. So if you don't do a training, you get it delayed by 6 months. So your benefits also come 6 months later. Right? It's naturally. Okay. So few things I always recommend learners when they want to look at. We are not the only training provider in the world, and there are many of them. But look at what is the past success rate for the training institute, what kind of faculty they employ, what is the quality of content, do they provide something called success guarantee, which is something that we give, how frequently do they do these trainings, and what kind of support you can get post training as well. Like recently, one of our learner actually spoke about this in a particular training, and she said, usually when you look at a training institute, when they're selling you a course, they're very proud. But once they have sold the course and comes to post-training support, the speed is gone. But fortunately, with adaptive, she found the speed to be equally good. I said, that's nice. That means our people are doing the right thing. Okay, now let's take a look at how do you prepare smart for any of the certification exams. Okay, one thing is you should get good clarity on the concepts. What is that the study guide or guidebook is trying to tell you? And if you have not practiced enough questions, you also run into trouble. Taking exams is a very different thing. No? How many of you would have taken exams in the last 3, 4 years? Most likely not. You know? Once you are in a job, you're working in a particular role, why would you write tests? Whereas tests are conducted in a particular fashion, and that's where you need to understand how to take tests in a time-bound frame. Yeah. So you have to sit down for 2 hours or 3 hours and take the test. And that's not something very easy to many, many people unless you practice it well. And usually, a lot of the original guides that you study are far more complex to understand because I think the languages are generally a little harder. That's what I've seen. And just to tell you, I've been studying Babok and other guides for many, many years. I still find them difficult. So I imagine when I am finding it difficult with so much experience and so much teaching background as well, what must be happening to others as well? And I think that's a fair thing because usually the guidebooks are written in a slightly more difficult language, which I think we should simplify, but that's something is left to the authors of the books. Okay. So this is something very interesting way IIBA looks at the new product owner role. So you're playing multiple roles at the same time. You are a product strategist. That means you think how the product will be successful, which product is successful, is it aligned to your organizational vision, goal? You are also a design partner. You help your UI, UX designers while developing the product. You are a team vanguard. That means you protect your team like the Scrum Master. You are also an advocate for customer. That means you are thinking on behalf of the customer what features will make sense, which features should get priority. You're thinking on a customer behalf. As always, as a business analyst, also, we like to be value drivers. That means we try to get as much value for our stakeholders as much as possible. And of course, a learning champion. Because remember, products are a learning journey as well. In the beginning, what you build, it may not be very successful. I think many of you would have seen the original versions of LinkedIn, how it looked, right? And how successful it became. No. So, but they learn that process very quickly. No, if you design a bad product and you don't learn from that product, obviously the product is not going to be a champion product. But if you're able to learn from your mistakes very, very quickly and then optimize the product or improve the product, your product is going to be very, very successful. So look at the way we are looking at the product owner role. It's very strategic and it's very valuable as well. So these are the 7 dimensions or domains that this particular guide kind of talks of. Obviously, learn the basics of product development life cycle, those kind of concepts in the beginning. And whenever you're trying to develop a product, think of customer intimacy. That means what kind of challenges customers face. Like currently, I'm working on a new product, 2 products, in fact. One of them is a learning management system for people with visual difficulty. These people can't see things very well. So obviously, we designed all content, including IIBA, everybody. It's either a study guide, kind of a PDF thing, or a visual video, quiz, everything. But these people are having difficulty in reading because their eyesight is poor or whatever. And there are many, many learners who are in that way. So obviously, we are excluding them from the mainstream learning process. So we are thinking, and we have already designed to a large extent a product which can work in an audio interface. So because the person cannot see, but the person can always hear. So that's what we are trying to do. Hopefully, sometime in next quarter or maybe early 2026, we should be able to launch the product. Similarly, we are looking at, and we are a training organization ourselves, and we struggle with many things. No? And then we are thinking, if we are struggling, there are many other like us who must be struggling as well. So if we can develop a solution for ourselves and productize it, that's what we did with one of our products. So we built it for ourselves. Then we realized there are many, many companies in this world who would also benefit from that product. We launched it on a marketplace, and now we have few customers, and they're kind of paying well to us every month. That's a nice thing. Obviously, product development is not a one-person activity. No, so we have product manager, product developers, product owner. So all these people, maybe your operational support team, IT infra team, we all need to work together to make it successful. And obviously, remember, we are making a product which will make an impact on the customers that we try to serve and on the business as well. No, 2 sides must win, the customer and the business. Deliver often, I think all of you know, don't try to make a big bang product launch. That's going to be generally a troublesome thing because the market shifts so quickly nowadays. No, so if you are kind of delaying it by 3 years or 5 years, maybe by the time you go to the market itself has shifted significantly. I talked about learning first from your failures, feedback, and obviously always being very, very careful that you are delivering value in every increment or delivery that you are making. This is again another very interesting concept in this particular guidebook, which I love. And this is, I think, quite unique to this guidebook. One, it actually asks you to think in 3 horizons. One, it calls it as strategy horizon. One, it calls it as initiative horizon. And one, it calls it as delivery horizon. If you look at the Agile Analysis Standard, that standard also talks about these 3 concepts. like aligning to your organizational strategy, creating a product vision, developing a product roadmap, creating a release plan, and obviously iterations are the ones which we kind of do very, very quickly, maybe a week or 15 days or a month or 2 months. But iterations are not going to be years. No, iterations should be limited to 1 or 2 months at most. So that means every time you are able to develop the product, give a better increment to your customers, and you are able to get feedback from your customers. And remember, all these horizons interact with each other. Typically, your strategy horizon will drive initiative horizon largely, and the initiative horizon will drive delivery horizon, but it also can take feedback from the lower down horizons as well. Okay, again, coming back to your preparation process, keep a good amount of time for exam questions. That's what I would always say, because exam questions are tricky sometimes and it kind of asks you to read in a particular fashion. So if you have done enough number of questions, it becomes quite easy for you to take the test. And you also don't feel the pressure, no? Because you have already practiced enough. And I always say, if you have studied 60 hours, go with a peaceful mind. I have studied enough. No, some people have that fear factor always in mind. Is my preparation enough? It is enough. If you have studied 60 to 80 hours, you've done it well. After that, you leave it to God. Okay. And go in a peaceful mind that I have studied and I'm going to pass the exam. This is why we actually ask our learners to take 6 simulations. If you take 6 simulations, you're generally good for the final exam. And obviously, let me also warn you, we are software people. So this certification standard or guidebook, it's primarily written from a software product development perspective, not a mechanical product development. You could also develop physical products, but we are not talking about physical products. And most of us, I believe, are from the software background. And that's the space that is growing very rapidly as well. And as I was telling, there are a good number of tools coming your way which can develop products much, much faster. Like there are no code tools, low code options, all that has started evolving in the marketplace. And I believe in next 2 to 3 years, these tools will become quite sophisticated, helping business analysts or any other executive in a company to develop products much more quickly. That's what I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn a no code tool where I can do prototyping quickly because my aim is to first create a prototype, get some feedback from users with a very low cost model, and then I will think of investing into a right full qualified product. So obviously, our primary focus is to make sure that we are developing a right product, not what happens after the product. And this is where what this standard is also trying to do is to extend traditional product owner role, which is very, very development focused, into a product owner plus enterprise business analyst role. That means you are not only looking at your own project or product, you are constantly aligning it with the organizational vision and needs. So you always have to make sure that whatever extra piece of work you're going to do is continuing to be aligned to the organizational vision and goal. And sometimes the organizational goals can shift. No, it's not that the organizational goals can't shift. Like, say, for example, one of the goals that we have kept for ourselves in 2026 is to go multilingual. Because earlier we decided to be focused on English language content because the translation process was very expensive, difficult, but it's no longer the case. No. It is becoming easier for you to translate documents. And I believe many organizations, including us, should look at multilingual option next year. They could do it this year as well if their time and budget permits. We started in a pilot mode and then we will do it for a large number of languages next year. And I always say sometimes when you're reading a science standard or guide book, sometimes the middle word may be missing. And as I said, always word the development word in the middle and it may start making sense for you. So it says if you are reading product strategy, maybe read it as product development strategy. Then it will probably make more sense because somehow our focus is a lot more on development, not on other aspects, not like pricing strategy, promotion strategy. But remember, when you are building a product, development is an important part of the product development process, but other aspects are also important. How do you upgrade the product? How do you price the product? Like recently, we increased our product prices because it had been 3 years or 4 years that we launched the product. Our costs have gone up in terms of manpower, support, and all. Then we said, okay, let's go and do one increment this year. So out of few customers, we lost one customer because of the price increase. But overall, there has been a better realization for us because that allows us to support our customers better. Quick notes on applying for the exam. And the good part about this certification is it's very simple process. There is no work experience, no reference. So as long as you are willing to pay the fees to the IIBA system, you can take the exam. And generally, I ask people to keep 4 to 6 weeks prior to the exam because you may like to book a slot which is convenient to you. You know? Don't pick up a slot which is very inconvenient to you. Like sometimes I hear people saying, I will take the exam morning 4 o'clock. Do you really get up that early? If you get up that early, I'm glad I don't get up that early. But if that is not the standard practice that you do, don't pick up an exam slot which is morning 4 o'clock. Okay. Then another thing I would always recommend all of you, many of you may prefer to take the test from the home setup because it's convenient. You don't have to go anywhere. But few things you should make sure, like you should not use your office computer for the test because the system would require to install a small software, and your office computer may not permit it. Most likely will not permit it. Then have a backup system as well. By chance your main system doesn't work, have two good internet connections. That always helps. And have some power backup. Having an external camera also helps because the proctor would like to verify your identity. Make sure that you have a valid identity available and use proper name, like whatever name you have given in your passport, the same name you use it in your exam system. Sometimes people abbreviate their names, but then they run into the trouble because the proctor may not recognize the abbreviation. He or she would check exact letters. How it is written in the passport, is it same thing in the exam system as well? Here I have given a nice link for you. There are a lot of ground rules that has been mentioned here as well. And if you face any exam difficulty during the process, please immediately report it to IIBA. Maybe IIBA can support you in having a retake or something if the issue was technical, not that you are not prepared for the exam. Okay. Then few tips on taking the test. It's always you test the published guide. So please read that published guide very, very well. And usually, what many people say is the initial questions are a little harder. So sometimes it may make sense for you to start at question number 20 instead of starting at question number 1, and then you come back for 1 to 20. Do not get stuck any question. That's a bad strategy. If you don't understand the question very well or you're not very sure about the answer, you mark it for review and move on. Look at the diagrams that's there in the guidebook. The diagrams are super helpful while you are writing the test. Okay, remember sometimes more than one option may be correct. So you have to choose the best option, not necessarily the correct option. And always refer the guidebook concept to answer, not what you do in your company. Maybe you have a practice in your company which is different, sometimes even better than what is there in the guidebook. But that's not how you answer. You always answer as per the guidebook because the question setters have no clue about what you do in your company. So they look at the guidebook and they frame the questions based on the guidebook. There's also another good technique many trainers or learners use, which is to eliminate choices which you can recognize them as wrong. And then you'll be left with two choices and it will be easier for you to pick the best one. And obviously, don't get very tense because that does not help. And I have seen some students who get very anxious just prior night. I also get some anxiety while writing any test. No, it's natural. But if it overpowers you, then it starts working against you. Uh, Coming back to what we do at Adaptive, we are essentially a BA training institute. Our aim is to provide you with high quality content and good facilitators. We are very, very selective about who teaches with us. That's why we have a very limited set of trainers. We just have 6 or 7 trainers on board, and all of them have minimum 20 years in business analysis, and all of them are certified for the required standard. So if somebody is teaching you CBDA, must be CBDA certified. Somebody is teaching CPOA, must be CPOA certified. But most of our trainers are actually certified in 4 to 5 different standards as well. And we are also very proud of our good support system and good model questions as well. Just couple of info for you. We do have a live CPOA training starting, and it's starting on October 7th. So if some of you would like to join, you can go to adaptiveus.com/calendar and you will find it. We also have an option called a guided learning and self-paced learning. So if some of you would like to do it yourself with the content that we have created, you can do that as well. And this is our link for our CPOA training products. This is it for the time being. I trust I'm pretty much on time. Susan, how am I doing with respect to time? Doing okay? How many minutes left?
You've got like almost 20 minutes left. Okay, I'm not sure
Oh,
why my camera has decided to stop working. But
no
I'm here
worries.
with you. And we have
Okay.
tons of questions. There I am. We have
Very
tons
good.
of questions. So, would
Okay.
you like to take some questions now?
Sure. Let
I
me see.
I will, you know what? I'll make it easy on you. Um,
Sure.
I'm going to pull over the Q&A box. So just a reminder for everybody, um, if you have a question, drop it into the Q&A box. And I want to thank you guys for those of you that have done that. If you see a question in that Q&A box and you have the same question, give it an upvote. That way I can take it in the order of the most important questions that people want to know. All right, here we go, Ellen. Today is like your certification. We are asking you questions. You ready?
Sure.
Okay, so the first question is from Leah. Leah says, I've
Hmm.
already enrolled. Oh, one moment. It popped. Okay, we're trying this. Okay, I've already enrolled and I'm doing the study now. The book is so word heavy. We hear that a lot, Leah. Are there any tips on how to prioritize what is needed when note taking? How much depth are you expected to know? So I think she's referring to the guide to product ownership analysis. Maybe talk a little bit about that resource and how much note taking knowledge of that particular book do you need to have?
One good thing you could do, you could use ChatGPT to summarize your book and keep it simple for yourself. Because, see, earlier we did it. I mean, we actually read the guide and we tried to make a simpler version of it. You have a choice. You can buy it from us, or you can also use ChatGPT to summarize it to a lesser extent so that it makes it easier for you to understand. But this isn't a super difficult book. It's
Hmm.
not a super difficult book. If you read it once or twice, I think it should be good enough.
All right. So thank you. Also, you guys may not know that we also have an AI tool that is trained on all of our standards and guides, including the product ownership analysis. Now, what I will say is you should not use it as a study guide. Like Ellen, I don't think you would suggest people use ChatGPT as a study tool because it can be a little crazy sometimes. But if
Sure,
you're
sure.
looking to summarize something, um,
Mhm.
yep, that can be helpful. Okay, so Inga has our next question. Are there any preparation question bases to work through for CPOA? She says she did something similar when she was preparing for her CBAP. I think you mentioned that you've got like a
Yes,
question base. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Um, and I think you mentioned that. Also, Inga, there are, as Ellen mentioned, there are other training providers that also offer this certification, and they also have question
Sure,
basis. And that can be one of the things that you look at when you are deciding what training provider you want to use, is whether they've got tools like that to be available.
sure.
Okay. All righty. Oh, I know this one's going to be a very popular question. Jamie asked, what is the passing score? You get that question a lot, I bet, right? From your
True,
students.
true, true, true. Very true. You would like to answer, Susan, or you want me to answer?
Well, I mean, we don't publish any kind of a passing score, is the short answer. But how do you prepare your students for that? Because I'm sure in the absence of knowing what the score is, there must be strategies that you share with them to help
True.
them kind of
So
know
what
how
we,
many they've got
yeah,
to answer correctly.
yeah. So we generally expect them to score 85% on our simulations with the assumption that in the actual exam, your performance may drop by 10% because simulations are anyway not kind of priced or anything. The actual exam is priced. So obviously, you are more careful about the actual exam. So our assumption is if you are scoring anything above 75%, you're doing reasonably good. That's what I would believe because I've taken so many international exams and most of them kind of qualify you above 70%, but just give us 5% margin because never know how each institute kind of reacts or grades its students.
Yes, and I'll put my certification holder hat on. I have taken both IIBA and PMI certifications, and that was always the range. Somewhere
Yeah,
between 75 and 80% on the simulations is usually a good measure of that you know the content and that you're, you know, going to be pretty good when you take the test. Vishal has the next question. Is there a mock test from IIBA? Now, we do not have a practice exam. IIBA does not offer a practice exam for CPOA. Is
we
that,
do.
but Adaptive does.
Yes,
And again, other training providers might also
yes,
include in
of
their
course.
packages, yep, training,
Yes,
a mock
yeah.
test. Thanks, Vishal. Excellent question. Let's see. Jamie has the next question. Are all 60 questions in a multiple choice format?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And how long did you say they have to take to take the test?
1.5 hours,
One and a
60
half.
questions.
Okay.
That's
And
reasonably good enough time.
yeah, I mean, I would think for 60 questions, multiple choice, that seems like it would be enough time. Jamie has the next question, which is the retake options. So if you don't pass the first time, what do you tell your students about retakes?
Okay. Some of our programs come with a retake covered.
Hmm,
So, like the
okay.
live program that I'm talking of on October 7th, it comes with two retakes, not only one retake. So, that's a risk that we take on our head. But our success rates have been pretty good. So, it really doesn't worry us that much. So, with Adaptive, you do get retakes covered if you take the live classes, not with the on demand course.
Ah, okay. Yeah, good to know. Um, you mentioned this is not a question, but I actually wanted to kind of underscore this, something that you said earlier, that you said if you are somebody that does not take a lot of exams, because you, Ellen, have taken exams, it's almost a lifestyle for you. You study and take certifications, right? So frequently that
Yes,
it's just part of your muscle memory. But if you are somebody that does not take these kinds of certifications, regularly, uh, again, this is just my opinion as somebody who has also not taken them regularly. Reaching out to a training provider can help you to 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 study, to set up a plan for studying and to be
yes,
motivated that way. So, but you
sure.
can absolutely study for these on your own and take them on your own without working with a training provider.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yes. All right. Let's see. So our next question here, and we still have 10 minutes. This is from Edward. Hey, Edward, does Adaptive US offer access directly to the simulation exam without doing the coursework, or is the coursework the prerequisite?
You can get directly the simulations as well.
Ah, okay. And so do you guys offer, so you offer packages, but you can also
Yes,
purchase those in pieces. Okay.
yes, yes.
Yeah, perfect. And let's see. Kushbu asked the next question. The exam weightage, as suggested by the CPO handbook, relates 7 knowledge areas. However, there are other topics in the main guidebook. What about those areas? Can those be given less focus or skipped when preparing?
No, no. I think, see, although the questions are said like that, they will always reference the entire guidebook. To my knowledge, there are no exclusions in CPOA guide, although exclusions exist for CBAP and
Ah,
CCBA from the BABA guide. But here, there are no exclusions. So you have to study the entire guide.
got to study the whole thing. All right, you got a thumbs up on that. Neelish asked, how can we take the simulation test for you? They can go out to your website,
Yes,
and that's where they can find those. Okay.
yes.
And Inga has dropped in a link from your website, so you can go
Thank
there.
you.
Um, oh, now there was some discussion about CBAP, CPOA that was happening in the chat. And so Rashmi's question is a good one. Which one is a better certification? CBAP, so the business analysis professional, or the product ownership analysis certificate?
Susan, would you like to take that question?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that one is better than the other. This is just my opinion as somebody that is a CBAP holder, and I also have some Agile certifications through PMI and some other organizations. I would say those two things are different.
I think from a market recognition point of view, CBAP has been around for a much longer time. So obviously the market recognizes CBAP a little bit more because it's just an old standard. Then secondly, it's also a little bit more difficult one. So when you ask CBAP, you can take the pride that I have taken a very difficult test. But if you are keen and you're already a CBAP, then you are trying to learn product ownership. CBAP guide doesn't talk about product ownership. So that's the reason why IIB is coming up with these extension guidebooks so that you learn specialized topics. Like we have a specialization on product ownership, there is a specialization on agile analysis, there is a specialization on data analytics, there is a specialization on cybersecurity. These are essentially to extend your capability from the core business analysis. You are able to extend your performance work into other areas as well. And you never know when you work in a senior role, what kind of projects will come your way. No? So maybe your organization decides to invest into products. They were not making products earlier, and they could decide to invest into products, and that time this skill will come in very handy. So don't think it as and or I would always say CBAP and CPOA. Think like that.
Yes, I would agree. If you are someone that really wants to go very deep in business analysis, and I think that for me is the CBAP, but the product ownership analysis, in a way, actually, it extends that business analysis knowledge specifically into product ownership. You can as you have mentioned today, you can take that product ownership analysis certification and not have sat for the CBAP, the CCBA, or even the ECBA. And there was actually a question in here about should I take the ECBA before I take the product ownership analysis? Do you have a thought on that?
Usually, like I see this question, would you recommend a senior business analyst with 7+ years experience who has not taken any IIBA certifications before to pursue CPOA, or would you recommend starting with something like ECBA? ECBA is the entry level certificate. It's a little bit easier from a questions point of view. So if you want to practice the test system, starting with ECBA is not a bad idea. Again, the certificate remains with you forever. There is no recertification. So that's a plus point. So generally start with a core standard first. Have a good understanding of ABAP before you do extensions. That's my personal take. But it's not that you have to do ECBA to do CPOA. Nothing like that. If you are working on products and you are very keen on products, CPOA is a good standard to start with. And you will see a lot of overlap between all these areas. So don't think that these are like discrete topics and they don't overlap with each other. Many of them will have overlap techniques, overlap tasks. So if you have done one, the second one will become a lot easier.
That is a great point. And something else that I want to mention that I like about the product ownership analysis certification is that I have taken other Agile certifications, and they get into the Agile frameworks, and they get into ceremonies and like all of the stuff of Agile. But product ownership analysis actually talks about how do you do product owner work? How do you do analysis as a product owner? So it is more focused on business analysis involved in product ownership. Quite different. You're not getting into the agile frameworks or any of that stuff. And if that's your space, if that is a new role that you're taking on, I think that is well worth the time. All right. Stacy has the next question. Are you able to take the certification test in person? No, unfortunately, it is only available online. And Ellen, thank you for including some of the requirements for doing the online exams, because we often hear from folks when they have trouble with those online, with doing the online versions of this. So please, please, please make sure that there is an online proctor guide that gives you all of the requirements. And I am certain in your training that you also give them all of the requirements for that so that they can have a smooth experience. Let's see. We're still doing good. We've got about 3 minutes here. Let's see. Let me go. I am gonna, so this next question is from Edward. What is your opinion of IIBA's digital learning package for the CPOA? So there are some learning modules that IIBA has that go with that. You don't have to purchase them, you don't have to use them. It's just another way to study. I don't know if you've used them or have any opinions on them, Ellen.
I haven't used because I did my certification prior to those products coming in. So I was quite early in writing these tests because I had to have that world records.
Yes. So, and I also can't speak to them, but I'll add this. Again, if you are somebody who is okay with doing some on-demand, doing your own kind of training, those learning modules can be great. Also, if you are like part of one of our corporate programs, some of those corporate programs include some of those learning modules. So you just get them because you're a corporate member. Um, so there's that. So thanks, Edward, for that question. Okay, and then I think I need to include the PDF guide, the CPOA handbook. I tell you what, we have 1 minute left and I will not be able to drop that into chat, but I will make sure that you guys have the handbook, the IIBA handbook for the CPOA. And what final thoughts would you like to leave with the group today?
Okay. I think for me, I always tell and I advise my learners and students, learning is a continuous journey. Don't stop it. And don't think that you have done something and that's the end of the world. The longer you continue to learn, you'll be more lively, you will be learning more, you'll be earning more, you will also be enjoying your work more. So keep that as a practice. Certifications are a validation that you have learned the subject well. So think it in that way, that I have learned and I'm having a certificate to say that I have learned it well. That's it.
That is, I think, a great note to leave our audience with. Ellen, thank you so much for sharing
Thank you, Susan.
all
Thank
of
you all
this
for joining us today. And hopefully we'll meet sometime somewhere in physical world or virtual world.
because you're everywhere. I
Yeah.
see you in person every once in a while, so
Yeah.
that's pretty good. All right. Hey everyone, thanks again. We'll send out a link to the recording and the slide deck in 24 hours from now, and then we'll get you some links and some other resources next week so that you can learn more about this particular certification. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care.